What is up, Facebook? Welcome to Tuesday Thoughts with Mike, your mentor. Hope your Tuesday has been fruitful and rewarding for you. Today, I want to talk to you about investing eternally. And what are you leaving behind when you are no longer here? What does that look like? What are you focused on? Do you even think about that? I think a lot of times, as men, we are just we get caught up in the here and now, right? In the moment. And, there's work to be done every single day. But at the same time, we have to have vision. We have to sow vision, or we have to cast vision. Which means mapping out a plan for the future, and then we have to get to work to make that vision happen. There is this term in finance called R.O.I. If you're not familiar with that, it's return on investment, and it measures what type of output you get compared to the input that you put in, right? So if you put $1 into a business, what are you going to get out of that? Are you going to get $2? Are you going to get $3? If you spend an hour's worth of time talking with someone and just being their friend and listening to them, what are you going to get out of it? What are they going to get out of it? So tonight, quickly, I want to talk to you about investing eternally. And two things come to mind. The first thing that comes to mind is there's this story of the talents. And in this story, a very wealthy master gives money to 3 of his servants before he leaves town. He's going to go away for a while. So to one servant, he gives 10 talents. I'm not sure what the dollar equivalent would be, but let's just say to one servant he gives $10,000. To another of his servant he gives $7,000. And to the last servant he gives $3,000. Hey, what up, Jimmy? Hope you're doing well, man. He gives $3,000 to. And he tells them that he's a very shrewd man, so when he comes back he expects to see a return on the money that he gave them. So time goes by. The man with 10 talents goes and invests that and gets let's just say a return of 3 times on his money. The man that was given the 5 talents goes and invests that, and he receives a return of 2 times on his money, so he doubles his money. The man who was given 3 talents knows that his master is shrewd and gets scared and decides he's going to bury that money in his backyard and not risk losing it. So the master returns and he calls the 3 servants before him, and he says, all right, I went away. I gave you some money before I went away. What'd you do with my money? What'd you make happen? What kind of return did you get on this money? And the first servant tells him, I tripled your money, master. And the master tells him, great job. The second guy comes forward. He says, I doubled your money, master. And the master says, tells him, all right, great job. So finally the third guy comes in and he tells his master, I know that you're a shrewd master and I didn't want to lose your money, so I just dug a hole and buried it. So while I didn't make a return, I didn't lose anything. And basically he gets, in modern day vernacular, reamed out, cussed out, I don't know, by his master for being lazy and for not being willing to take a chance. And what that says to me, is we all have a purpose. We all have been given different gifts, different abilities, different dreams, different passions, that we need to invest and take the time to develop those, to curate those, and to sow those things in the world around us, the communities that we live in. And some of us, we've taken those things for granted. And I can attest to that, right? So, one of my gifts is just this ability to, hey, what up, Will? Be transparent and share hard things with people. I don't know, for whatever reason, it doesn't always bother me. But I don't always want to do that, right? For a lot of reasons. One, sometimes, you can make it out in your mind that it's embarrassing. You can get too caught up in what are people going to think. Are they really going to want to hear this? And in reality, the feedback that I've gotten has been that more often than not, this is what people are looking for, right? Like, we're lied to all day long on the news, out in the world, with all kinds of stuff. There's so much smoke and mirrors because of social media and all these things, and everybody, wants to act like they got it all together, that when we take a moment to really be vulnerable and to show up and be authentic, it's super refreshing, and it cuts through all that BS. So I tell you that parable just to encourage you, like, what are you investing in? Are you investing in your talents? Or are you just letting them be idle and seeing what's happened? Are you taking the steps to do what's necessary to sharpen that saw, if you will? I think it was Abraham Lincoln who said, man, I'm tired. Something about, I think he said, if he had to cut down a tree, he would spend, I think it was like 8 hours sharpening a saw, and in 2 hours cutting down the tree. So that, the lesson is, take the time to sharpen your skills and develop them, and not so much time practicing, actually going out there and doing it, I guess. The second thing I want to say is, we have things in our lives as men that we've been given the opportunity to steward over: our marriage, our relationship with our kids, our job, the friendships that we're fortunate to have, and our position in the community, whatever that looks like, with our neighbors. And for a lot of us, we haven't taken that very serious. As a whole, men as a whole have not taken those responsibilities serious, and as a result, the legacy of manhood is been eroded over the last couple of decades for numerous reasons. And now we're getting to a critical point where we've kind of lost our way, and the honor that used to be associated with being a man and what that really looked like and that really entailed is becoming a mystery to this next generation. A lot of times along our path to invest in things, invest in our kids, invest in our marriage, personally speaking, I've shared a lot about that and how I almost blew up my marriage right from the beginning. So I started with most people start their marriage probably with some good emotional deposits into that trust bank. So I blew mine up, and then I went super negative, right? So I've spent the last 10, 11 years trying to build that up and make those deposits, and it's been a huge investment, but it's definitely been a worthwhile investment. And I think about where me and my wife's relationship is now compared to where it's been in years past. yeah, it's come a long way. And I can't speak for, I guess maybe, yeah, Maximize Manhood. Yeah, it's a great book, Jimmy. I can't really speak to other marriages. I observe them, but just living mine out every day, like a struggle for me sometimes. When you start out a marriage in a huge deficit like I did, I felt like, all right, I really screwed up, so I need to make up for that. And when you come from that positioning, uh, you, for me, there was times where I would avoid saying how I felt or what I really thought, because I thought that that would erode the little bit of trust that I was starting to build back. And I was scared of showing up authentically, because I felt like that would push my wife away. And I don't know if that's the truth or not, because to be honest with you, I never had the balls, unless I was pissed off, to do that. So now I'm at the point where I can, because that trust has been built up. And it's just about constant investment over time. And I want to show you something, and I think it's interesting, and it does a good job to paint this picture of investing, and what we need to keep in mind no matter what we're investing in, whether it's our marriage, whether it's our kids, whether it's our work, whether it's our purpose, our passion. And this is a graphic of Warren Buffett's net worth, right? So he's one of the richest guys in the world. And I'm not showing you this because to say that it's about money. I'm showing you this to demonstrate the power of in continuing to invest over time, right? So as you can see, this shows at age 14 he had $5,000, then he had 6,000, then 10,000, then 20,000, then 140 by age 26, his first million by 30. So he's on this very little increase comparatively to where he is now, and he doesn't start to amass his huge amount of fortune, statistically speaking, until about age 46, right, where that income really starts to skyrocket through age 87, right? And this is what a lot of our lives look like along this plane. You'd add probably one more, right? So this would be like negative 5,000. This would represent my marriage, right? So all these years just sowing little by little, right? Reaping little by little rewards, right? Along the way, until now, my marriage is starting to prosper, and it's starting to grow like it should have, right? 12 years ago. Not making an excuse for that. It is somewhat sad when I think about that, to know that I did that and I lost that time, because I could never get that back. But at the same time, it gives me hope, because I know that as I continue to invest, I will continue to reap. And that is one of the laws of the universe. You reap what you sow, in due time. May not be immediately, but eventually you will get what is coming to you, so to speak. Whether you're sowing into your business, into your marriage, into your friendships, into your kids. So I just want to encourage you on this Tuesday Thoughts, to think about, what are you investing in. And I know that there's a lot of you, a lot of dads that, or a lot of guys that watch this, and you're single fathers, right? And for whatever reason, you don't get to see your kids as much as possible, or whatever your home life looks like. But I can tell you that you just being, thanks Jimmy, love you too, you just being in your kids' lives and taking even that little bit of time that you get with them to invest them makes a huge difference. You know, last week I got to visit somebody who was who's locked up, right? And they have kids. And I don't know what it's like to be on that side of the glass, but I do know what it's like to be the person staring through the glass, looking at your father, wishing that you could spend time with him. Right? So a lot of times we think that what the amount that we're investing isn't enough, and only God knows that, right? And will direct that. But my point is like, that's making a difference. Even if it's a little bit, something is better than nothing. So I just want to continue, whatever your focus is, wherever you're investing your time and your resources, to continue to do that. Continue to chop away. Continue to sharpen your sword. Continue to make those investments. And then one day you will reap what you deserve. So that's it for the Tuesday Thoughts. Love you guys. If you need anything, please feel free to message me. Otherwise, I will see you tomorrow for Wednesday Wisdom. Belle the Blind Pug says hi, and we're out. Later.